Welcome, traveler, to the Beautiful Sunday podcast, with special thanks to the Society of BS, where every tale hides a secret, every whisper leads to a wonder, and nothing is ever quite what it seems.
Each week, we gather around to share the strange, the spooky, and the stories that refuse to stay buried.
I never know what you're about to tell me, and every time I regret finding out.
Good, then you've come to the right place.
This week, we put on our lab coats and gloves for a segment we like to call Weird Science and Wonders.
Some call it science, others call it sorcery. We call it a fun story for the archives. These rebels break the law of nature. This episode is called File 7 A Matter of Light, the Hessdalen Phenomenon.
Dun dun dun!
The sky is dark over a valley in Norway. The time is midnight on the 8th of February in 1972. Mr. and Mrs. Christensen are on a stroll when they notice an object in the sky. It flashes with an orange ember colored glow, with a ring of deep red along its edge. Ever the opportunist, Mr. Christensen grabs his camera and films the strange occurrence. This is one of many phenomenon that dates as far back as the 1870s. These lights seen are not at all similar. They differ from each sighting. Some sparkle, some emit sparks, some just glow. Some are round, some are triangular. The most reported sightings taking place in the 1980s, where they were seen up to 20 times a week. There is no observable pattern. Are these a natural phenomenon or something from out of this world? This is the intrigue of the mysterious lights that float over Norway, otherwise known as the Hessdalen Lights.
Interesting. Something out of this world, perhaps?
Yes, mysterious lights. I know you're no stranger to these, right?
Yeah, my husband actually has a whole story about this, of this orange globe he saw driving home from work one day. It's his story of the extraterrestrial, and a big reason I think as to why he believes that these things do occur.
Why do you think that when people see lights, their automatic inclination is aliens?
Well, I think because they can't explain them, and you can't explain aliens, so obviously it's aliens.
Yeah, but why isn't it like a comet or like a natural phenomenon? Why is it aliens?
Because it's alien to them. I think too. No, my first thought is it's military. Military is doing some kind
Some
of
sort of
testing.
aircraft or
Yeah,
something.
that's my first thought always, because I like to rationalize it. I don't know why aliens scare me the most, mostly because it's probably alien to me. But yeah, I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. It's in the sky. It's mysterious.
I know you said your husband David has seen a floating line. Have you ever seen a floating line?
I have a few times over the sky. There was one that um, we were at either an aunt or uncle's house, and someone said, "Come look outside. Come here. Come see what there is." And we ran outside, and there was this globe, and it was kind of just moving around, kind of weirdly. And we're like, "Is this real?" And everybody was kind of just freaking out. And this is before camera phones actually had legit cameras on them, so we couldn't really record it. And then there was another time that I was driving home from California, and these lights just appeared. Imagine if it's like a ship, right? It's like a line of lights and would blink, blink, blink in a row. And then all of a sudden they just were gone. So I've had a couple of phenomenons myself.
I think it's interesting because we live in, for those of you who don't know, a desert in southwestern United States. And so a lot of people claim that there are aliens here.
Mm-hmm.
Would you believe that?
I mean, there's a lot of events that happen around this area, especially, what is it, Area 52?
Mm-hmm.
And they had something called the Phoenix Lights. If you've
Yep.
listened to, if you're an original BS podcaster, a listener, we talked about the Phoenix Lights.
We did.
Originally. So yeah, it's a big happening around this area for those things.
Let's talk theories. Boy, oh boy, are there many theories for this. And I'll try to explain them to the best of my ability, but I am not a scientist, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. And I'm going to try my best. So, first up is the natural battery theory.
Okay.
So, this suggests that rock formations containing iron and zinc on one side of the river and copper on the other side, with the river acting as a conductor, creates bubbles of gas and fumes that react in the air. So they kind of, as these bubbles, create in the air, I don't know if they just get
Electrified?
yes, and hence light.
Yeah, they glow.
They glow.
Okay.
So that's one of the theories.
I can see that.
Next up, we have tectonic strain. This is when tectonic shifts cause an electrical reaction in certain material, in this case quartz, and then the copper and iron that we mentioned earlier.
Okay, so we'll explain tectonic, right? That's when the moving of the
Earth.
Yeah, the moving
The
of the
tectonic
earth.
plates.
Yes, so when that moves, it rubs these types of materials together,
which create an electrical charge.
Okay.
Yeah, so far.
Yeah.
And then the last theory that I have listed here is ball lightning.
Ball lightning?
Which is a strange phenomenon in itself.
Okay.
Essentially, what it is like a ball of electricity that moves around in weird ways. The cause of ball lightning is also a mystery, go figure, but it's theorized to be air or gas or plasma bubbles. What is a plasma bubble? Ionized gas. What is ionized gas? What causes ionized gas? It's the gaining or losing of electrons to give electric charge. What was I saying? Oh, yes, ball lightning. So, essentially, what these all boil down to in the simplest of ways, that I understand it anyway, is electrical charges of some sort. And those are kind of the main theories. And it's just a matter of what type is causing it. But like I said, don't quote me. I have no idea what I'm talking about. But come on, that's not what you really care about. The in-depth scientific theories? No, you want to hear about the alien theory, don't you?
Yeah.
Don't you?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, my brain hurts.
Well, yeah. I like all of this electricity and all of these, how it happens because of electricity. Sure. We can all think it's electrical, but it's not.
Tell me about the aliens.
Tell me about the aliens.
Well, to start off, we talked a little bit about potentially seeing aliens, but we didn't really talk about, do you believe in aliens, that they exist at all?
I don't not believe they exist.
That's a runaround answer between yes or no.
Well, let's just say I believe in ghosts more than I believe in aliens.
Interesting. I would say I'm the opposite.
Really? Well, I've had actual, like, I guess, experiences with supernatural.
Like, I don't rule out ghosts in general, Like, I don't say, like, oh, they completely don't exist. I just think that maybe there's some sort of explanations for them in some cases, like, which, again, we'll get
Science?
Yes, science. We'll get into that on a different day when we're talking about ghosts.
Sure.
But today we're talking about aliens.
And I think there is the possibility of aliens. However, I do also believe some of the theories and some of the ideas that people come up with, like ancient times. There's no way this could have been built if there weren't for aliens. I call BS on that because humans are very smart creatures, as much as people don't want to give us credit for.
Adapting, right?
Good at adapting, good at adjusting, good at inventing. So I think there are such thing as aliens, but I mostly doubt it because I just don't want it to be real.
Well, I always think back to the quote by what's his name, the scientist Neil
Armstrong?
No. Tyson.
Oh, I don't know science.
No, anyway, the quote, I believe it was him that quoted it, and it was like, either we're alone in the universe or we aren't, and both are scary.
I can disagree, Mr. Neil, but carry on.
Anyway, because in my opinion, of all the strange phenomenon in this world, I think aliens is not the craziest of ideas because of just the fact that, we found water on Mars. It just takes a little bit of water to create life. So the fact that there could be other beings living on other planets or solar systems, I don't think that's that far-fetched.
And I don't think other beings would necessarily need water either, and maybe that's why they haven't come to Earth, so keep that in mind
that's
as
a
well.
possibility too. They could breathe in other things. We still have yet to discover how it all starts, how it all begins, right? We have our theories, of course, and we're studying it every day. We're getting closer and closer to figuring out
science.
All that to say, I don't think it's that crazy an idea that aliens could possibly exist.
Sure.
So, aliens, extraterrestrials, little green men, etc., etc. Could these little space cowboys be exploring our world? Well, the theory is this. Big flashy lights come from big flashy spaceships. Yeah, essentially that. They're these lights, especially the more geometric ones, are that on intricate ship propulsion systems. When you read some of the accounts, it's not hard to see how we got to aliens, right? So, this is a quote from John Arvid Aspis, and he says, "Three lights appeared and moved in coordinated patterns. They seemed to communicate, with one ascending while another took its place. One light approached them, revealing a solid metallic craft with a row of lights." He continues, "It was an evening when my eldest son and I were working on repairing a snowmobile out in the yard, at home. We were working there in the dark, and then a glowing orb came down, through Hessdalen. When it came right outside our barn, it stopped and stayed there calmly for maybe about 5 minutes, but then it started moving westward toward the mountains, and that's when it turned its lights on, toward the ground. I can tell you, those were some powerful spotlights. It was almost like the sun shining on the hillside as it rose there. There was a lot of energy on board, that's for sure. That's probably what has impressed me the most about this UFO stuff."
Well, and see, the thing about it is there's people from different parts of the world having similar stories to what these things look like
This
and what they
goes back
do.
to like what we were talking about with like the Bigfoot and how
Mhm.
there's so many of them.
Mm-hmm.
Is how are there so many of these instances and accounts that are similar? Is it that we're humans, we think similarly, so we explain things similarly? Or is it that these things actually happen and they're happening all over the world?
Well, the idea of the globes kind of separating and going back together and kind of moving in a pattern is what my husband explained happened to whatever it is that he saw.
Don't you have another podcast where he explained that? So if listeners want to go hear that, or has he not
Oh,
explained it?
yes. If you want to go to Herm's House podcast, the podcast that him and I run together, he tells the full story. Like he goes into every detail of what happened that night.
Yeah, I don't think we could do it justice here.
No,
so.
we couldn't. He's quite the storyteller. So if you want to hear that full story, it's one of the episodes on Herm's House podcast. I believe it says like UFOs and ghost stories, which what we talked a little bit about today. You'll hear more of my theories and my experiences as well in that episode. But he will explain how that all happened, and it's funny because you're reading this story right now from John Aspis, and I'm like, this is similar to what he said, and similar in the sense of the lights that I saw over the city as well.
Right, some sort of like in a row lights that move coordinatingly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the crazy part. So this case really hurts my brain. I'll be honest. There are plenty of other strange lights in other places too. One of the more famous ones is called the Marva lights. Have you ever heard of those?
Marva?
Yes.
Oh,
apparently they're in Texas.
Yeah, I was gonna say Marva, Texas.
Yes, Marva,
Yep.
Texas.
Yep.
For those of you who don't know, she lived in Texas for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, to me, the Hessdalen Lights takes the cake of all of these ones because they do have some explanations for the Marva lights that kind of make sense, whereas these Hessdalen Lights kind of...
I don't know. The science behind them seemed pretty
You just
proper.
really want it to be science because you don't want it to be aliens.
I mean, maybe.
But anyway, it's game time!
Woo!
So this game is called Explain the Unexplainable.
Mm.
So I'll give you a weird, unexplainable scenario,
Okay.
and you have to try to find an explanation for it. Simple, right?
Yeah, I mean,
do you understand?
Sure.
Sure.
I have to explain whatever happened.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you something that would
be... I have to explain it with science.
Or however best your brain can explain it. If it's aliens, it's aliens. If it's magic, it's magic. But the first one we have is a hiker shouts into a canyon. The echo comes back to him in a different language.
Interesting. The response comes back in a different language, but is it saying the same thing?
I don't know.
Because in that case, it could just be someone living in that cave. And it's not necessarily an echo. It's someone responding to him but doesn't understand him. So it's talking in his own language back out to him, but it's not coming out because it does not want to deal with any kind of human interaction.
So just a hermit.
Yeah, like a hermit living in the cave but doesn't speak his language, and the hiker doesn't speak that language, so
I said a canyon, by the way, not a cave.
Oh.
So I don't know if that makes things a little bit different.
I mean, maybe he lives in the cave.
He lives a cave in the canyon.
Yes. Yes.
It's not a bad explanation. I think that explains things fairly well.
Right. Because I've never seen an echo come back through a canyon.
True.
From a cave, yeah. That's why I said a cave.
All right. I think that's a pretty good explanation for that one.
Me too.
All right, you ready for the next one?
Yes.
A grainy grocery store surveillance footage picks up a man walking on the sidewalk, but his shadow walks in the opposite direction.
Ghosts. Obviously.
Just ghosts?
Well, they say that, back to the ghost theories, ghosts attach to people.
Mhm.
When you go to certain places, if there's something there, it can attach to you and then follow you, and then can either stay with you or continue on. And so this might have been a capture of that actually happening.
So you're saying this is the point at which the ghost was leaving the man?
Correct.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Could just be a trick of the light.
Also could be a mirror on the opposite side. Yeah.
Going with ghost?
I'm going with ghost, so I like that theory the best.
Okay, ghost. Not bad. All right, you ready for your last one?
Yes.
A woman goes to skip a stone in the middle of summer. As soon as the rock hits the water, ice forms around it and it freezes in place.
There is a science to this.
Ooh, tell me.
I would if I knew what the science was. I just know that there is a point where you mix certain chemicals and it immediately freezes.
In the middle of summer?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on the chemicals that you're mixing, right? It could be no matter where you're mixing it, these two chemicals touch and it freezes.
And so you're saying that the rock kind of agitated the two chemicals?
So what I'm saying is there was the chemical in the water,
Okay.
in the stream, say, maybe it was added there by illegal dumping.
Okay.
And the rock had the opposite, because rocks have like different minerals in them, right? So the rock contained whatever it was, the opposite affecting mineral that made this react in a way to freeze it.
Okay, I see that. That's an interesting explanation. Honestly, I like your explanations. And look, this episode you don't have to wait to tune into the Instagram. But please, if you would like, go into our Instagram and explain how you would explain these phenomenons to us.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what everybody else's theories are. Of course, they're wrong compared to mine, but you know.
I don't know. Maybe some people actually know what the science is.
Well, and if someone actually writes, we could share it as a bonus.
All right. Well, what is normal anyway? Maybe one day an explanation can be found, or maybe some things even science can't explain.
If you've got theories or secrets of your own, send them to us on Instagram at Society of BS, or tag #Society of BS, or #Weird Science and Wonders, so others can find you. Thank you for joining us here at the Beautiful Sunday Podcast. I'm Christine.
And I'm Seleena.
This is another tale for the archives. Heart open, mind odd, sun high.
And if you're still hearing whispers after the credits,
maybe you were meant to.